Hi, I'm Bran, and I love AMC Plus Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise AMC Plus Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and I would walk 500 miles, and this
is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody.
Man, what a song.
Get ready. Get your quilts on.
There's ghosts in here.
It's gonna be a wild episode.
For those of you who wonder what could possibly worse than Bran's British accent,
Hold on. Hey, you stop it.
Your Scottish is way worse than that.
Give me a little bit of whiskey. Get the bagpipes.
Somewhere Gerard Butler is feeling a stab in his temple and he doesn't know why.
Well, guys, we did it. We went to AMC Plus again.
Yeah. Why we keep going? I don't know, but we do.
We do, and we're better for it.
Are we?
Yeah.
All right.
I think so.
I watched it on Tubi.
Ooh,
okay,
very nice. With
you didn't
commercials.
Get a free trial of AMC Plus?
I have in the past, but in this time I just thought, I'll deal with the ads rather than create a new email address.
Did you regret it?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Alonso, you have a fake background behind you because you're actually in Venice right now.
Yeah, and you took a full green screen of your bookshelf.
How's it going out there?
How's Italy?
It's balmy. It as though the rain weren't making it humid enough. I don't know if you know, there's a lot of water here, so that really kind of adds to the thing. And people are like, "Oh wow, you get to go to Venice? How glamorous!" I'm like, "Well, okay, let's be clear. A, Venice is on like the other side of a very large canal from where the actual festival takes place, which is this little island called the Lido. And B, I'm at work and spending a lot of time in the dark watching movies. So yeah, it's cool that I'm doing it in Italy, but that is still what I'm doing.
But enjoy the gelato while you're there.
Yes.
Oh heck yeah! I did hear they did
announced a secret screening of Jupiter Ascending 2, and you got into that, and then illegally posted your review blurb on Rotten Tomatoes, causing quite a stir. They had to take that down. I know. Yeah.
Look, the Wachowskis want to make another one. I'm first in line.
Yeah. Y'all remember that time last year when we went to AMC Plus and we watched Silent Night?
Yeah, that was a downer.
That was fun. Maybe this will be better. Let's find out. Saving Christmas Spirit.
Saving Mr. Christmas.
Hello.
Is a movie.
Hey.
We did not watch that.
So you guys remember last week's movie, how it aired on Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
If that was a little too close to Christmas for you to watch, this one came out on December 23rd. 2022.
So you could have done a double feature with
You could have done a double feature, and both of these were made by Nicely, which is the same production company.
You could have watched these back to back.
It was been a very nice, very nice.
As they say in Guys and Dolls, you could nicely.
Nicely. You get to nicely.
Don't.
I don't want to sound like this. Dr. Lucy Stewart is an archaeologist who just broke up with her long-distance boyfriend and is at risk of losing her job at the university. So they head to Scotland. Well, she heads to Scotland to authenticate some books or something. I don't. She's trying. Listen, man. I get it, bro. To potentially save her job. So she gets to the inn. She meets the innkeeper, Adina, and her nephew, Finn. Finn is an American. Fun fact. So she heads to the pub, and she wants wine. She is instead handed a scotch, because you're in Scotchland.
Oh, God.
Thanks, guys.
You're the worst, man.
That's about as good as just synopsis gets. I'll be honest. Doesn't get better. That's it. So Adina, the bartender, his name's Duncan. Adina insists that there's a ghost in the inn named Callan. She's trying to find some stuff, and Adina encourages her.
Did you get this synopsis from the secondhand news guy on SNL? This Tony Crispino, I believe.
I heard.
This is the LaCroix of synopses.
Apparently, there's a rock. Okay, there's a rock.
Okay,
and she's like, if anybody can help you, it's my son Duncan. Duncan's the guy, the bar guy. And so they're hanging out a good bit. They're looking for rocks and stuff. Having a groovy time. The sparks are flying. There's a rugby storyline. So Lucy gets fired, and that's bad. That's bad news. And also bad news is the fact that he doesn't have the money he needs to bottle the good stuff. And so the rugby folks give money, and they're going to give him money because of the rugby game. And he's like, thank you for this, but also not good enough, pal. Still not going to happen. So he sells his business, and she gets a job offer. And he is like, what? I thought we had something special here. Guess not. And walks away. They discover he is like, hey, guess what? Other location. Let's look for rock there. They look for rock there. They find rock. And he's like, hey, we're going to.
Other location. Let's look for rock there.
Let's look for rock there. They look for rock there. They find rock there. And they kiss. And that, my friends, was Saving Christmas Spirits.
We did not.
We did it?
We did not do it. We didn't.
It's a Branch. If you didn't see the movie, just say you didn't see the movie, and we'll go from there.
We
found other location.
He
found rock.
There was an original distillery.
You're right.
Before
Other
they built
location.
this one. No, it was right beside it.
Other location. It's not where they were looking.
But it's the same address.
Other location.
Other location within the same address. Let's look for rock there.
I stand by my synopsis.
Do you?
Nothing I said was incorrect. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to break this movie down here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back. We're talking about saving Christmas spirits, and we're going to get to our first segment, which is called Hot Take. It is where we share exactly how we felt about this movie, and we do not hold back. And I'm going to start with Alonso. Alonso, what do you think of Saving Christmas Spirit?
Well, I mean, your razzmatazz synopsis didn't really quite do justice to it, but I really liked this one, actually.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Alonso,
Yeah.
are you serious?
I am very serious. I really enjoyed this. I would not go so far as to call it borderline real movie, which is our, pretty much about as high as we go on these movies. But I will say it is borderline real movie.
What?
I enjoy the couple. I thought their chemistry was terrific. I loved all the location stuff that we were actually in Scotland. Yes, there's some janky like post-production snowfall, but for the most part, it comes off as wintry. I thought that I liked the characters. They had stuff to do and were interested in things. I guess I'm alone here. I like this one.
Man.
The edibles were good. The edibles were. Yeah, I don't agree with Alonso. In case it didn't come across, I was slightly on the board side of this movie. Give me snowball effect over this movie.
Oh, stop.
I just felt nothing. I felt nothing, and I'm sorry, Alonso. You and I are normally just kin, but not in this case. We are. What's the opposite of kin?
Barbie.
Barbie. And I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't care for this movie, but I do want to go to Scotland. So mission accomplished. Dan.
I'm starting to feel like maybe they were just like pumping carbon monoxide into our airspace during this movie, because this movie was almost impossible to watch. And it wasn't because it was necessarily poorly made. It just felt like it was never going to end and so boring. And it was like, she's going over here to authenticate some books, to maybe save her job. Does she want the job? Her boss is her best friend. Like, I was never clear really on anyone's motivations in this movie. I was struggling to pay. It really just suffocated the will out of me. I was struggling to pay attention to to the things that I normally pay attention to in these movies, like the wait what, so all the feels, or just the film in general. I was having I had to get up and move around to keep from just falling into a full lull here. So I hate to say it out loud, this is a better made movie for sure than Snowball Effect. But Snowball Effect was a quicker watch for me than this.
Dan, like the movie.
I just was so disinterested in this movie. I can't believe, when I will say this, when you watch these movies matter. And when it's the second movie of a Snowball Effect Saving Christmas Spirit double feature,
which we did do,
which Bran and I did, that does matter. It does.
I watched them a day apart. Maybe that helped. I went into this one fresher than y'all did, but yeah, I think you have a woman who is good at her job and not being punished for it. She has this thing that she wants to accomplish that isn't planning a party, and that doesn't follow the usual predictable steps. So I didn't know how she was going to reach the goal of, she's trying to find this hidden shrine to this sort of Gaelic, winter
And that's
deity.
the guy who likes the movie. I want to be very clear, who just said, that's better than I could have described it. And you were like, it's some sort of shrine to some sort of Gaelic thing.
Well, no, I don't remember the name. There's an ancient Scottish winter deity that is mentioned. There's an existing shrine to her. She thinks there might be a second one based on the clues from these old diaries that she's been asked to authenticate. Meanwhile, the dude, granted, yes, is trying to get his Christmas branded scotch out on the 24th, but nonetheless, he is dealing with the fact that he's made the scotch, but he can't afford to bottle it, and the rival is trying to buy the distillery from him. Meanwhile, the American cousin playing rugby and is the team champ, so he's the one non-Scotsman on the team, and he's trying to help his girlfriend, who he's too shy to ask out, get a girls rugby team started, and dealing with the fact that his parents are divorced and his father's married. He's got a whole new step family to do with. There's a lot happening here. I enjoyed it. Brand, this movie gave you ghosts and reindeer and Santa. I don't know how you were not on board.
Yeah. And that was Saving Christmas Spirit.
Yeah,
there are ghosts.
The way you describe it, Alonso, sounds like a better movie. What we got was not the best parts of that, in my opinion. I just didn't think the leads had much chemistry at all. I don't.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Both super gorgeous and super into each other. Y'all are the big Ashley Newbro, however you say her name, fans.
In Christmas Town, she's wonderful, and we've had her on the show. She's lovely.
Okay.
I'm not saying
so she's not sitting next to Palaha. You're not into it.
No,
is that the deal? Okay.
I'm not saying she's bad in the movie. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I just didn't think they had a lot of, I don't know.
I thought Scott's guy was super hot, and I thought that together they were pretty crackling for one of these movies.
Wow.
Maybe go in fresh on a full night's sleep, and then watch it after the Snowball Effect has sapped your will to live.
I think if there were 65 reviews on Metacritic, 64 would pan this one.
Richard Brody has joined me.
He has.
So
you're right. I
can
saw
just-
that. Now
you
it's
can
65
chill
out of
out.
67. That's right.
That's right.
That's funny for the people that get that reference.
Oppenheimer.
There it is. Let's get to the feels. I'm kind of pretty unsure of where you're going to land on this, Alonso, but do you have any feels?
I do, as a matter of fact. First of all, I love her office. It is insane. It makes no sense, but I love that it looks like Sherlock Holmes's apartment. Like there's just like books crammed in everywhere. Gotta shout out the gays because I'm never going to take those for granted. This movie gave me location feels. Like we are not shooting a couple of exteriors in Scotland and then doing the rest in Romania. Like we are out there in the pubs, at the old B&Bs, on the moors. Like, you know, it was gorgeous. The waterfalls, loved all of it. The rain, like that she wears a hat in the rain. Like when do you ever see that in a Hallmark movie where they've all got the long curl and maybe a little, you know, perched chapeau, but there's never any actual like, you know, weather to speak of. I liked the fact that she wears gloves to handle the old books. We've talked about movies where people discover ancient artifacts and are just grabbing them and passing them back and forth to each other. Although she does drop stuff on the floor, which so points off for that. The joke in the thing where she asks for ice for the scotch and they all tell her no, that made me laugh. A progressive stance on women in sports. Their chemistry, I really enjoyed. I don't know how you guys missed that. And again, Ghost, Reindeer, Santa. Come on.
I just feel like Alonso. I think we watch separate movies. I've just never not been able to see your side on these things, and I just, man, this is wild.
I seriously think that the snowball effect just fuzzed your eyes up and you weren't ready for anything.
I think it's all the humidity in Italy. You're in California. You're not used to that. Yeah. You do a hurricane where you get all this rain and then you go to Italy with all this water. Like
it's making me moist.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. That's one way to say it.
I had per chapeau written in my all the feels, and so now I don't know where to go with it. You stole that. There is a Santa ghost element to this movie that I'm always going to love. I anytime there's this like Santa flying across the screen, I'm here for it. There's magic with like white fuzzies around to make sure you know it's magic. So yeah, I love that. I'm here for that.
Yeah. There's a line in this movie where the owner of the Duncan's mom is like,
Adina.
Yeah, she says if you didn't care, there'd be nothing to get mad about. And I love that line because I think sometimes when people get angry, we just feel attacked. And then we have to realize that you only have strong emotions when you care a lot, which means, unfortunately, somewhere deep inside, I did care about this movie because I was really angry at it. And so
you weren't indifferent.
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't indifferent. I was actively mad at it. So I must have cared somewhere along the way, but I did like that line.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the wait one, we'll get it here on Deck the Homework. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Monday. Let's get to the wait what. It is where we talk about what in this movie made us go wait what, and I'll start with you, Alonso.
I did have some. The post-production snow at the beginning of the movie is like a screensaver.
Yeah,
it's
real bad.
Really oppressive.
Yeah.
It's a nicely entertainment staple.
Yes, it is.
I think so. Yes, it is. They bought it and they're going to use it. Dang it. At one point, she talks about how she doesn't like scotch, but she likes his scotch, and thinks of that as a selling point.
Yeah.
And it's like basically the idea being like, well, if I, as a scotch hater, like your scotch, it must be good.
No.
Or not.
Or the opposite.
Not.
Or it doesn't taste anything
or
like
it's
scotch.
Hot garbage, and you have your tongue doesn't know anything.
Yeah, the people that don't like wine, and then they have a wine that's like 7% alcohol, like a Boone's Farm, and they're like, but I like this wine. Like that is maybe, you don't want that. That's not,
not your target demo here. The charity fundraiser for a distillery is a little weird. I mean, they do kind of explain that the family does things for other people throughout the year and that, it's basically helping them out when they're in a tight spot. And so I eventually forgave it, but because clearly like previous recipients of the charity were also just like people in town.
The community. That's right.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, fine.
And they don't just, it's weird because, and this is a major wait, what? The community doesn't just help each other. That would be way too normal. They all buy tickets to a rugby match. And then the rugby people take that money, and
Right.
then they all decide we're going to give it all to one person in need in the community, which is a very weird way to go about it, but that's what happens in the movie. Yes.
Yeah. We do get another Zoom background that is pretending that it isn't.
Yeah. And they double cross you because they're like, yeah, this isn't real. It's a background. Oh, it's real. No, it's not. It's a background.
No, it's a background. Yeah, exactly. Like you can't reverse double back, rope-a-dope that bit that much.
First, how do you do?
That's right.
Breaks all of our brains. I had written down women hate the grand gesture, but then she says women hate the grand gesture. So
That's
kudos movie. And then, the idea that the American kid is the star of the Scottish high school rugby team. It's
That is the stretch of the century.
Is he?
Yeah, there's no world where he comes over, gets a few lessons, has been there since September. He's been there 3 months, and he's the best player on the rugby team. Get out of here.
I mean, there may be high school rugby teams out there, especially if there's a college recruiter who happens to be in town for an American college. But yeah, that seemed a bit of a stretch for me. The whole idea of like, yes, my whiskey is called Christmas Spirit, and we're shipping it out sometime on Christmas Day. I think.
That's when it's going to be a big seller. Yeah, that's right.
And then this last one, just because it really, I think it was, I know Bran was thinking it when he signs the contract originally with the rival guy, and there's no notary.
Yeah.
No notary present.
Yeah, they're just doing that.
Area notary.
And that's
to be
why
found.
he can rip up that contract.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
At the other location.
At the other location.
So I got a few. One, she walks into the room and Adina is on a rickety old ladder working on the Christmas tree. And Lucy yells out, "Be careful," from behind her. And might I suggest one way to help her be careful is to not do that.
Correct.
To walk behind somebody who's on a ladder and go, "Be careful."
Yep.
From behind. They don't know you're coming.
Yeah.
That she would fall off. You got to be careful with saying be careful. She shot that scotch back and did not make a face.
No.
Multiple times. She's just like, yeah. Which I don't think this is scotch. I don't think that there's no way.
No.
Because
it might just be maple syrup.
it just, yeah.
I would make a bigger face at that. I feel like,
at the big rugby fundraiser
charity
event,
match, yes.
there we all the players are wearing hats. So what the opposing team is wearing Santa hats. The home team is wearing the reindeer antlers. Which just seems like an interesting choice with rugby in particular.
Yes.
But for some reason, the reindeer team's coach decides that he is going to wear a Santa hat. And that's an interesting move. It would be as if, Dan, you coach basketball. I don't know if you've heard. You showing up and wearing the opposing team's colors.
That's right. Yeah.
That would be confusing. I don't know why you would do that.
It's almost like they didn't take this rugby charity match seriously.
I'll tell you what. All right. Nicely entertainment. We have seen over the past 2 movies you attempt to do snow. And listen, if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. But you have to know when to stop. And when it's time to stop is way before you get to trying to create an establishing shot of a castle as it's snowing.
Yeah.
Don't. No. How dare you? Yeah. It was as if I was looking at a game that was playing on a floppy disk.
Yeah.
On my dad's old computer.
The Polar Express has better.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was wild. And last but not least, at the end of this movie, we are at a little party. And the rugby kid and the rugby girl, they're dancing and they're having a conversation. And then he says, "You dancing?" And she says, "You asking?" And then they go off to dance. They were dancing. They were already dancing. and then they have a conversation about whether or not they should dance.
Yes.
Which it's you dancing. We're dancing. We're all dancing. You're just gonna get lost in the ochres there, I think. Dano?
Yeah, we talked a lot about the charity rugby game and some of the motivations and the Zoom background. I've got 3 more for you. Everyone in Europe says university. No one says college unless you're in this movie, which clearly was written by an American, I guess, because all these Scottish people are saying college, which they would never, ever say. She has this line, which is a humdinger. I had my interview for curator at the Scottish Museum. They're going to hire someone else, but aside from that, it went really well. Am I being punked here? What is she?
We've all had that interview.
Have we? If I leave and I know they're hiring someone else, the interview did not go well.
You're right. Well, okay, here's the thing. I think you can leave an interview and be like, I'm not going to get it, but I didn't poop the bed on this one. Like I presented myself well. We had a good rapport. They're not going to hire me, but it was still an okay interview.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was a weird line to me. And then lastly, they're like, he goes and he finds her before she leaves to get on her flight. And he's like, I just realized there's another place in the same location, different location, whatever you want to say. They used to build this distillery, then we tore it down. And they go back and they're like, what if we try this place? And they find these artifacts in the ground. And it's like, that stops the dude from building. It's this whole big thing. Here's the problem. One, that ground is so soft for having snow on top of it. Like it is like the Georgia sun has been beating that. Like it is like rich soil, like peanut soil.
They're planting tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly. And second of all, that artifact is maybe in the bottom of the topsoil. It is this far down. It is maybe 3 inches into the easily diggable plowable soil that's under the snow. And we're like, man, this has been hidden here for centuries. What? No one found it?
There has been a recurring bit where she talks about how every time she tries to find something, she gets beaten to it by like a gardener or a sheepdog. Yeah. So clearly Scotland just has like runes and relics that are just inches below the top.
And that soil stays really, really just like soft and fertile.
Supple.
Especially during the winter with that layer of ice and snow on top of it. It locks in the moisture is what it does. It's a flavor seal. It's like a Ziploc bag is what it is.
That's right.
It's ridiculous.
It's time for AMC What Happens. It's where we wonder what could have been, maybe happened, get some clarity, we still have. Alonso, what are you still wondering about?
The movie offers the possibility that she could get a job in Scotland, which seems to make much more sense for the two of them as a couple than for him to like leave behind his family, leave behind his distillery, leave behind all of these things that he's attached to go follow her around from city to city. It just, I don't get why they thought that was the play here.
I'm going to piggyback on that because that's mine as well, which is, this is another case. We've had several of them recently in watching these movies where the dude decides after spending maybe a week or two with this girl that he is going to invite himself along on her journey. So he basically is like, I'm moving to the East Coast with you. And she's like, well, I'm going to Chicago. And he's like, I'm moving to Chicago with you. When do we start apartment hunting? Like he's just all in on, I'm now like you've got a little crush with this Scottish dude. Well, guess what? Now we've hit the turbo button on that bad boy and he's moving to America with you. That's happening. He's never even been before. He's moving to America with you. That's crazy.
Yeah. So they do dig into the nice soil and they find the things and the guy runs up and he's like, you can't dig here. And she's like, well, get used to it because we're going to be digging here for at least a couple years.
That's right.
Is there more? Is there more to be found? Because they've done a good bit of like looking around the area already and didn't find anything, but just in this area, they did find a thing. And she's like, it's going to be a couple of years. So is there more? Is there a lot more to be found in the soil over the next couple of years?
Especially since neither her nor the guy that owned the distillery are going to be there.
Yeah.
They're leaving and they're just like, hey, somebody else is going to dig.
Someone else is going to get it, but it's going to be a couple years. We did it, everybody. Congratulations. Next week, we're heading over.
Happy Labor Day to everybody. I know we didn't say that at the top, but happy Labor Day.
Yes.
Hopefully you're getting some rest and relaxation. You're enjoying some gelato in Italy or wherever you may be.
Happy Burr months, and this movie was set in Scotland, so we got Burrs. It's all happening.
A lot of people might have taken today off. Not us.
Not us. Not here.
We said we're coming in. We are laboring on this day.
That's right.
Next week we're heading over to Hulu for Merry Kiss Cam.
Okay.
Merry Kiss Cam.
Merry Kiss Cam
on the Hulu, home of Unicorn for Christmas. So,
Kiss Cam has gotten so commercial.
Until then, maybe we're the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. What? For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.